Impressed, and I asked Andrea if you want to join us. Of course, I became a fan of the app to find pre-loved clothes. I really liked the term, so it's not used but pre-loved items or sustainable items, and a lot of different projects that then Andrea can show us. But actually, Andrea decided today to talk about a specific subject that is very important for all of us, that is the ocean, and how our development, our way of life can impact the oceans. So I will leave the stage to Andrea, that will share with us a presentation, a deck. And in the meanwhile, of course, everything that comes to your mind, if you want to ask questions, please write in the chat. And at the end of this presentation, I will share the question with Andrea. Okay, thank you. So Andrea, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Valentina. It's been a very nice introduction, and thanks a lot to all the organizers from Sustainable Kitchen Brigade, and I'm very, very happy to be here tonight. So let me just give you a super brief introduction of where does our project come from, and so actually why I'm here tonight. So our project is called Greenflea. What do we do? Very simply put, we have developed a platform where people can sell and buy secondhand products, where professionists can sell alternatives to traditionally polluting products. And we have structured this around the concept of community. So we have a very strong engagement with our community on social media, where we really try to communicate constantly, not in a marketing oriented way, but more on a way to provide information and how to navigate around the thousands of pieces of information that we have every day regarding sustainability, climate change, and all that is related to this topic. We have recently started to work very closely also with people who provide services. So when it comes to recycling and upcycling clothes, and we hope to really expand these activities in the future. So on top of this, the whole project actually was born because we wanted to plant trees. This is what we wanted to do, and actually the platform came after that. What we do is simple. We donate our profits to plant trees in Italy and in South America. For each purchase, we take a little percentage of the sales, and we take the profit to support NGOs and so our partners in this sense. So why are we going to talk about the oceans today? So this is the topic of the day, even though we plant trees. So actually right now, we are about to arrive to the 8th of June. There is the International Day of the Oceans. A day that, of course, is very important for anyone who is interested in knowing what's going on regarding sustainability. And we have also made a partnership with 30 per 30, is a association that aims to protect 30% of the Mediterranean until the 2030, as you can see from our website if you ever happen to go there. So anyway, this was what we do, and very briefly put. I will go directly to the presentation, and I wanted to share some thoughts actually regarding what is the current state of our human condition when it comes to us as a society, the development and the impact that this has on the world that is around us. So let's start with a good thing. Usually this presentation starts with a bad thought or some problems, but actually we live in a very great time to be alive, all things considered. In 1990, 1.9 billion people lived in extreme poverty. So this is 36% of the world population, and like all the money of the world, the wealthy were all in the West. So Europe, US, and Canada. In the last 30 years, the last 20, 30 years, this number is reduced to 9.9% of the population, with a great increase of people going out of poverty, especially in Asia and in Africa. This is great, of course. This is a great thing. Why? Of course, if we are talking about the environment, there will be a bad side to this. The bad aspect of all of this is that our whole modern concept of society is based on some concepts that are not sustainable. So everything that the West has built during the post-war period is built on a concept of exploiting natural resources and using these to create products, sell, and so nurture an economy. This is all nice and great, as long as is a small percentage of the world does this. If everyone acted the way we do, we did now that we have more people actually acting the way we have done for the last 50, 60 years, we see that this system starts to collapse. I'm sure every one of you has heard about the overshoot day, the day that we finish the resources that we should consume to be actually sustainable. And these go always shorter and shorter and shorter. And this is because we have based our whole development on these principles. Now, we have to come to terms to this. And we have to manage to do this, also realizing that we have no right to tell developing countries, okay, you should stop. But yes, don't develop because it's not sustainable, really. Okay, we can't do that, and we shouldn't do that. We have to find a way to help everyone develop in a proper way, everyone to be able to go to school, everyone to be able to have food to eat, but in a way that doesn't destroy the planet. So we need to change the system from its roots, in a way. Yeah, as you can see, this is we are living during the end of the illusion of a endless growth. And this is where the whole concept of circular economy comes into play in the last 10, 20 years. So where does this have an impact on the ocean? So since we always focus on the exploitation of land, on exploitation of minerals, on intensive cultures, we have noticed that the ocean and the impact that the human have on the ocean is usually overlooked. And thankfully, Netflix helped us with a very nice documentary very recently. So if you haven't seen it, go see Seaspiracy. It was actually very interesting and mostly correct. So what are we doing to our oceans? We are exploiting the natural resources of our oceans in a crazy way. Industrial fishing is actually creating a lot of damage to our oceans. We have fishing vessels that go every day, and with the way that their nets are built, completely swipe the ocean floor. So they don't only catch the fish they are supposed to catch. They catch. They do two things. They destroy the bottom of the ocean, and they get a lot of bycatch by that. One of the very interesting points that has been brought up recently is that every year 100 million sharks are caught as a byproduct of fishing. So usually sharks are not very popular, but they are very important for the healthiness of our oceans. There has to be a pyramid of the the chain where the animals eat each other, and it is built in a certain way. If you remove a certain level to this pyramid, the whole pyramid as a whole starts to collapse. The disruption of the food chain will bring actually a loss of biodiversity in the future, hence less food for us in the future. So we are sacrificing our long-term sustainability of our supply chain of fish, if you eat fish, just to have short-term profits and incomes. We have been, as a second point, we have been polluting the world like crazy, and the emissions of CO2 are no news for anyone. But the oceans has an enormous impact in reducing the CO2 that is in the air. Actually, CO2 is concentrated in the air. You can imagine that the ocean has some kind of chemical reaction with the CO2 in the air. It takes it, decomposes it, and thanks to the biodiversity and all the flora and fauna in the ocean, it helps reducing it. But this balance is being disrupted. We have seen an increase in temperature. We have seen a loss of biodiversity in the flora, in the fauna in the ocean. We have seen that the ocean is being less and less able to absorb CO2. So this is all a cycle. The more we pollute, the more the ocean is less able to help us, and the circle continues in a bad way. And then the most popular topic of all when it comes to ocean pollution, that is plastic. So if you live in the West, you probably know that all the governments are taking action against overproduction and the pollution caused by plastic, and it is all good. We are actually moving in a almost good way. The problem is that, and many people are shocked by these statistics, the production of plastic is expected to increase by 50% in the next 20 years. And this is because we have a lot of countries that are emerging from poverty. And plastic has been a fundamental part of the way that we have been producing, shipping, and consuming products. And now, of course, we already have the production system ready. These countries are going to use an enormous quantity of plastic. And okay, you don't need me to explain why plastic is bad for the oceans. The problem is that if we don't face the reality that we need to change the system as a whole, really the future may look grim, because we need to be able to find new way, find new solution, innovate, and be able to provide everyone with a variety of choices without damaging the environment. Now, yes, I already spoke about that, but the situation is actually, we are still able to do something. As of everything when it comes to the climate change, we are in a special moment in time. We are realizing that we have created a lot of damage. We are more aware than ever about the problems that the environment faces, and what is the role of the human species in it. And we're still in time to make a change. So I always like, I mean, this is a very short presentation. This problem is very, very complex, and we could talk hours about it, but what can we do to do our part? And as of everything that concerns climate change, the answer is always do small action. Every one of us has an impact. Every one of us has a carbon footprint, and every one of us produces waste. But the way we live and the way we spend and we buy has a huge influence on what on how the production system is configured. Imagine 10 years ago, could you think of any fashion house that would talk about secondhand? No one. No one was talking about it. But because consumers have started to demand that companies have to be more sustainable, they have to do it. Now, we can't expect the companies and the market to self-regulate. This will not happen. We cannot expect that the market regulates himself in a way that is not profitable to itself. So we play a huge role. We have to choose food that comes from sustainable sources. We have to be consumers that know where our product come from. We need to try to buy things that are durable. So whatever you're buying, if it is an electronic, try to find something that you may repair. Try not to throw away an old phone. Maybe you can repair it, or you can buy an upcycled one. When you travel, of course, we should try to use less airplanes as possible. We have seen during COVID that nobody was traveling, and actually the quality of the air everywhere got better. So, I mean, it was really obvious in front of everyone how our impact was huge. But even when we choose the facility where we sleep, or the restaurants that we go, we should always have it in mind. It should be not something we think about, but like, I mean, a natural response to what we have around us. We should always look for the sustainable choices. And the last, but actually the most important, is to study. 2 years ago, I was probably not aware as I am today. I started this journey because I had a nice idea, a dream, but in the way I realized how bad I was behaving. And I am so grateful that I had the chance to talk with so many experts, so many companies that are trying to do the right thing, and I had the chance to study. But not everyone ends up in this path. So when we have the chance, without being patronizing, we should be able to show that there is something better that can be done, to show with our behavior and to explain why we do this thing. So without,
Preaching.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, this is a very small presentation. That's it, actually. But I hope that this gave you a glimpse of what is the current trend of the world. Is a really macro topic that I tried to summarize like in 4 slides. So I hope it was clear enough.
It was.
So
Thanks
thank
a
you
lot,
everyone
Andrea.
for thank you everyone for the attention. And so if you have any question, I will be here until the end of the
the
show.
presentation. Thanks a lot, Andrea. It's very, as you mentioned, it's very broad subject, and we could talk for hours. But as you mentioned, I think that 2 or 3 things that really are important to remember, that really we can make a difference in also how the main companies can change their behavior if they see there is a profit in that, right? So we know that that's one of the pillars. And also in sustainability, the 3 pillars are for the planet that we mentioned, then for people, and for profit, right? So it is in the schedule of that. No one imagined that the companies don't want to get money anymore to save the planet, right? That's not the way we are going. So the example that you made about the fashion industry, now also Zalando is doing a section just dedicated to the second hand. It means that the request was so high that they have decided to change their business role. And also about the plastic in general, sometimes, especially in Europe, we don't feel that much touched about all the advertisement that we see about, I don't know, for example, plastic straw, because we don't live in a McDonald's, for example, like in the other side of the world, or we don't take all the frappuccino in the plastic at the Starbucks. But when you realize that actually only 30% of the plastic, even if we are the best and we recycle everything, only 30% of the plastic that should be recycled, so if you exclude all the things that we throw away in the wrong way, is actually recycled. It means that really it's not the way to go. It's not possible just to think, okay, but I do the recycling part so I can use plastic. Is not the way to go. And of course, plastic is super important, as Andrea mentioned, for the development of countries, and also the emergency that we had with the COVID show us that plastic is very important, but is not the products that we use just one time and then we throw away. Every material is with every material that is done, if we use just one time, that's a waste. That's the thing that we have to try to avoid. Very good. I see a question that is coming. I have a question. How it is Anna? Let me check. You mentioned airplanes. I agree 100%, and I wonder, what about cruise? I thought that cruise produces more sea pollution than airplanes.
Okay, so to answer first to Anna, How do I know if the fish I'm buying is from a sustainable source?
Okay.
This is a very nice question, and I wish I had a very nice answer for you. I mean, there are certificatory bodies that try to regulate the fishing vessels and to enforce some rules. Unfortunately, we don't really have a certainty of the way that these bodies operate. So I give you an example. One of the bodies, I don't remember the name, is based in Luxembourg. What they do, they put operators on fishing vessels, and they control that there is no bycatch, or if there is bycatch, the fishing vessel has to sign it, so that we are able to have some statistics about it. But this is nice, but unfortunately, there have been reports of these operators being coerced into not reporting properly, or there have been some hypotheses of not really very strict control, the way they say. The fact is that the fishing vessels, the companies, are paying to get the certification. And so the certificatory body is earning as many certifications are emitted. So you see that there is a small conflict of interest. So we should try to find, to study about the regulatory bodies. And there are some regulatory bodies that are very, very, very strict, and we can follow them. But some of them, not so much. So I'm not really an expert on this. I will tell you, you can search a guy, he's called Andrea Grippi. He's an expert in regulatory bodies, and he has a very long list of publication about it. So that could be.
Thanks a lot. I'm putting in both the link of one of the main source for sustainable fishing, and also Andrea Grippi. And of course, as usual, as we mentioned last time, if you buy more local, and just the small fishes usually are better than the big fish in general. And also, if you know there is something that is fish close by, usually it's easier than, of course, for an Italian to buy a salmon or something that it's very not in our normal diet, let's say. So it's really depend also on where you are, because also the fishing techniques are very different in the different countries. And then, sorry, I was reading, I realized I was reading the Sotta question that about the cruise.
Yes, about the cruises. I'll be honest, I have yet to find some good statistics and research about the cruises. So I will not say much about it. Clearly, they bring some clear pollution through diesel emissions on the sea. But I would my research regarding the impact on the sea is quite recent. So I'm focusing a lot about the loss of biodiversity, and about the changes regarding the CO2. So I still didn't have the chance to read thoroughly much about cruises. So I would keep it maybe for a second discussion or a more in-depth analysis in the future.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Yeah, in general, as far as I know, from my recent study, flights in general by far had a lot more impact on pollution in general than any other transportation by far. So it's that's also why in some countries they are cutting down. For example, we spoke last time in France, they are completely cutting down all the flights that can be substituted with trains. So in France, I think from next month, if you have to go somewhere where you can easily go with the train, like in 1 hour, like the small olds, you cannot take the flight anymore. And that's an amazing move, I think. Perfect. I think we are perfectly in time, let's say, for the half of the meeting. So amazing, Andrea. Of course, if you want to stay also for the cooking part, we'll be happy to do that. And in the meanwhile, if some other question come to your mind, please feel free to write in the chat, and also later on we can send that to to Andrea. And then now, Alessandra, the cooking part, it's yours.
Okay. Grazie, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. And thanks for your talk, and for the cooking part this time. Linking to the speech of Andrea, and about Andrea talked about the small action each one of us can do to reduce the pollution of the ocean and all the circle that is linked to it. So together with Alessandra, that Isotta introduced us at the beginning of this master, we were thinking about which kind of recipe linked to the topic we discussed just a few minutes ago can be a proper one. So we will talk about fish, and then we say, okay, but the fish should be local. We have a lot of people in the meeting, so maybe no fish. And then in the end, and we have to thank Alessandra for changing the recipe for us and for trying a new recipe for us. We ended up with a product that will not produce any polluting emission, and is able to give a contribution or limit the acidification process of the ocean, is rich of benefit in terms of essential nutrient and mineral. So it's very useful for the human diet, and we decided to use the seaweeds.
Yes.
So I'm very happy to to let the stage to Alessandra Giustozzi from Amsterdam, but she's Italian, and actually she's the chef of a nice place in Amsterdam called Baretto. Yeah. And in her free days, she cooks for the neighborhoods. So if you want to follow her, you can find the page that is Odobodo. And I love all her recipes. So I'm a big fan of it. So the stage is yours, Ale, and thank you so much for being with us today.
All right.
I move inside because I want to cook with you.
So, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, she introduced me pretty well, so I'm not gonna add a lot. Just a small thing. I live in Leiden. I don't live in Amsterdam, which is fine. Just saying that there is more in the Netherlands to visit, and Leiden is just beautiful. Yeah, I've got the sun behind me, so I hope you can see me. It's quite warm today, so it's yeah. And I've got a second camera on top of the cooking stove, so then you can both see me and what I'm doing. And yeah, we can just start, and just a little small introduction to say what I'm gonna make. So it's a pretty easy, straightforward soup. It's a white bean soup, and I like it a lot because it's quite fresh, and I thought even if it's gonna be warm, it's actually something that it's you can enjoy even if it's warm, let's say. And two main things about the soup is the use of herbs and of citrus. And we will make a seaweed pesto. So the usage of seaweed is going to be in the pesto, which is going to be a topping for the soup itself. We're going to start with the soup, and while the soup is cooking, we make the pesto. So we're going to make some noise because at some point we're going to smash things. So I hope you can either silence me, or you can just make noise with me, whatever you prefer, basically. And well, if you have questions, just unmute yourself and stop me any moment, basically. Okay, so I'm gonna move. You will see my hands. I'm gonna move that way. I hope you can see me. Yeah, I'm over here. So we start with the onions. We put a little bit of oil, something I learned to do with time, and also it's something that my mom says a lot, is not to use too much oil, too much fat. So what we do is to cook the onion in half part of oil and half part of water. This makes the sofrito basically a little bit lighter, but also it cooks a little bit faster. So if you don't have a lot of time, it's actually a very good idea to yeah, to just speed it up this way. So we go with the onion. There we go. And then we go with a little bit of water.
Sorry, I interrupt you already, Alessandra. Sorry, just a moment, because they're telling me that some people can't see your second screen. So I don't know. You have the option to choose the gallery view mode, and so you would be able to see all the screens, and then you can pin, just double clicking on the screen with the name Alessandra Giustozzi, which is focusing on the stoves. Double clicking this one, it will be your main screen. So okay, they're writing that. They could manage. Great.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so that's the onion, and it's gonna be quite quick because, of course, again, of the water that makes moisture, and then the onion is gonna be much faster. When it's gonna be mostly halfway, let's say, so I'm almost there. I don't know about you guys, but mine is going quite fast. The fire is quite high, again, to make the process going a little bit faster, because we don't have a lot of time and we need to use it properly. So we're gonna go with the garlic. And I wrote in the recipe 1 clove of garlic. Of course, that depends a lot on your taste. Be careful to the fire at the moment because it's gonna be quite high. So you either mix all the time or reduce it a little bit. And basically what you want to get, you can see from the onion when it starts becoming a little transparent, and the bottom of your pan is gonna be a little bit dry. You can always add a little bit of water. Yeah, that's gonna make some noise to help yourself. I guess most of the Italian people know what I'm doing, because so what I'm making is soffritto. You can make the different types. This is just onion and garlic, but it's the base for a lot of pasta sauce, for a lot of soups. It's, I think, one of the most important preparations we have in Italy, probably. Italian people can confirm. So as soon as the bottom of your pot is dry, I'm gonna go with the herbs that I cut very thinly, and I'm gonna go in. I put a lot. I love herbs, so, and that's basically the main flavor of your soup, besides the beans, of course. Now the trick here is to put the fire medium high, and that's because we want to extract all the flavor from the herbs, and that we do with a hot environment. If the pot looks a little bit too dry for you and you think it's gonna burn, you can add a little bit of oil. And that's basically how you extract the flavor of the herbs. You can, of course, use dried herbs. That's all fine. I do prefer fresh. You feel it in the taste. It's more fragrant. It's more, the flavor is more there, let's say, while the dry ones, they kind of disappear. So you need to use also much more of it. Okay, I'm at the point, I think you can see it. I don't know what it says here, okay. Where, yeah, it's basically all pretty much cooked. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the beans. You go with the beans. And the first thing you do is to let them stay a little bit with the herbs to get the flavor all together. You can lower the fire a little. Yeah, when you see that everything is well mixed all together. All right, we got there. Well, that's the point where you are a bit, yeah, you need to go a little bit freestyle. I'm gonna put salt. If you eat with a lot of salt, go for it. If not, up to you. I just put, I think, a teaspoon of it, basically. But I also need to say that Dutch salt is not really salty, so in my case I should put more probably, but yeah, in Italy it's proper salt, not to say anything bad about Dutch people now. Okay, and we go with a little bit of pepper as well. Also, again, your taste is important. Mix in a little bit, and you go with water. How much water? Not so much. You just need to be able to cover your beans. There we go. You can see that they are all floating in water. Okay. Okay, so basically your soup, it's cooking. You can put a lid on it, which I didn't prepare, so now it's gonna be a bit complicated. No, I can't. Okay, so you put a lid if you have it. And yeah, that's gonna take about 15 minutes on medium-low fire. And in the meantime, while this is cooking, before it's ready and we smash it, we're gonna make the pesto. So I'm gonna move the camera a little bit that way. Yeah, there we go. And for the pesto, you are going to need the main ingredient, which is seaweed, basil. There we go. Like a proper pesto, some Parmesan cheese, we don't use pines, we don't use walnuts, but of course you are free to experiment with whatever you like. And there we go. Before we go to the pesto, I forgot a little thing, which we are going to do now, otherwise it's going to be a bit too late. It's the tomato paste. Again, it's very concentrated, this one, so I'm not going to put a lot. I would say a teaspoon, it's more than enough. You put it in, you stir it in, you let it dissolve until the soup gets a light red color. Yeah, there you go. And of course, tomato adds a nice flavor to it. Another big cliche, probably from Italian people, we like our tomatoes, cannot do anything about it, so we better use it. There you go. This is cooking nicely. We go back to the pesto. Bear with me while I move everything. Yeah. So we were talking about ingredients. We got almost everything, I think. I wrote in the recipe or in the instruction to keep some cooking water of the seaweed, because probably what we'll get is something a little bit drier than a normal pesto. That's what I experienced while I try to do some experiments with quantities and between seaweed and basil. And I realized that instead of keep on adding oil, which is of course very tasty, but also a little bit too fat in the beginning, at the end, we could use or reuse the water of the cooking of the seaweed. So that would be actually a very good way of using the water again. So yeah, we just start. I'm gonna put the cheese. Yes, I'm gonna put the walnuts. I chopped them a little bit before, but it'll be fine anyway. And about the greens, what I would do, I'm gonna start with some seaweed because that's the main thing, and I'm gonna put about 5 grams of it, which is, I wrote in the recipe 5 or 10, because it depends a little bit what you bought, basically. I have a mix of 3 different ones, which is nori, wakame, and yeah, I don't know now in English anymore. Well, another one. And they're quite intense in flavor. I don't know what you've got, but if you manage to get to the right quantities together with the basil, you get to a taste which is a bit bitter, but balanced out with the basil. And it's quite great, in my opinion. So I would go then with the half of the amount of the seaweed, and we go with the half amount of the basil. Okay, you can always add later on while you're mixing pepper. I'm not gonna put any salt at the moment, at least. A little bit of oil. Italian people know that we like our pesto and we like it with a lot of oil. So that's something quite important for the texture of it. And if you have a spoon with you, you can already add 2 or 3 spoons of the water. And it's not just for the how do you say, the composition, the texture, but it's also for the taste, because if you smell it, you see already that it tastes quite like the sea. All right.
Alessandra, sorry,
Yes.
We have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know the name, I just see the number, but anyway, it said that she or he just found the seaweed, the sushi one. Could they work? Because he said that she cooked, but it basically dissolved.
Oh, okay, then that's not gonna work, I believe. Well, yeah, I should have said that maybe I'm not like an expert in the different types of yeah, seaweeds, and I got this one, which is a mix of three, just because I was lucky enough to find something quite cool.
Okay.
The one for sushi, I did use it a couple of times when I was making some, I don't know, either soup or something, and I put it inside just for the flavor, and it did not dissolve. But maybe if you cook it a long time, like 10 minutes, like I wrote, maybe, yeah. I don't know, I'm sorry.
Erika, thanks for your question, because now we all know that probably we should not cook it. So now probably we know.
I don't know then if you can use it in a pesto. You can always try to wet it instead of really boil it.
Yeah.
Maybe
and Andrea mentioned that maybe you need to soak it less, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Andrea, could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I basically followed also the instruction on the package, I have to say, because again, it was the first time for me to use something like that. So it was quite cool, but also quite challenging. So I had to find my way. But yeah, okay. Maybe it's not the same for everybody at this point. Sorry. Okay, keep an eye on your soup. It's not just overboiling. Mine is doing just great. Just a little peek for you to have a look. If you're at the same point, more or less. There you go. Boiling or like kind of smells great over here. And back to the pesto. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna smash now. So if you're bothered by it, yeah, I don't know, shut me up basically. We're gonna go. If you already put some water, you will see that it's quite easy. It's not that difficult to go into the greens. So I've seen a lot of Italian people joining, so we know more or less how a pesto should look like. Mine at the moment looks a little bit thick, as you can see. I don't know, can you see? Yeah, a little bit grainy. So what I'm gonna do is to add one part, which is, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's very Italian, not to say quantities of oil, and a part of the water, of the cooking water, or yeah, more if you need more. That's something you realize with your greens, I believe. And we go again. Okay. So now it's the moment where you go and taste. Taste. I'm going with my finger. Mine is quite nice. I'm gonna put some salt because I think it needs a little bit of sparkle, not too much. And I'm gonna put a little bit more of the seaweed because I would like to taste the seaweed a little bit more. So there we go. A little bit of water because I know that I add a solid part, so I'm gonna add some liquid, and there we go again.
Ale, Sotta mentioned if you put the salt in the pesto, and I reply no, because I remember that you say no, but it's because because the seaweed are already salted, right?
Yes, it could be. I have to say that also the first time I made it, I thought it would be much saltier, so then it was not. But it depends a lot what you got, so it's better to start without, and then while you are basically making, you can see or taste and see if it's salty enough, and if not, you just go with a little bit. But I would stay on the low side, let's say. All right. I'm ready. Okay. And again, here it's like, yeah, the consistency you get, it's a little bit different from the normal one, of the normal pesto, because of the consistency of the seaweed, which is pretty different from, yeah, just basil or just a normal garden herb, basically. So that's gonna be mine. It's quite thick. I do like it, but you can for sure make it thinner or more oily if you prefer. Last touch is gonna be a squeeze of lime. And that's just because, yeah, it's nice in general, but again, it brings out some freshness. And we are cooking something fresh because we got herbs everywhere, both in the soup and in the pesto. And citrus, lime, or lemon that we're gonna put in the soup, they bring out this freshness even more. So, last taste. Yeah, I'm quite happy with mine. I hope you are with yours. And basically, guys, we are almost there because at the moment we got our pesto ready, which is gonna stay here. Yeah, I'm gonna quickly rinse this. I don't know, the mixer. I don't know if you have to. I don't. So there we go. And what we do now, it's basically make our soup creamy. And then also about this, there are different people liking different things. And yeah, beans are generally quite creamy if you smash them all the way. If you like a very creamy soup, then go and smash it all. If you prefer, I don't know, a lot of people do prefer a soup with a bit of liquid and a bit of pieces, let's call them pieces. Then you do a few smashed, let's say, a few times, and then you're basically done. You see that the color is pretty nice. You can see the herbs, you can see the red of the tomato, so it's a pretty decent soup, I would say. And then I'm gonna go well, another way, if you don't have a hand mixer like I do, something you can do, you can take out a part of the soup in a normal blender. You blend that part, and that's gonna be your creamy part. And then you put it back in your soup, in your pot, and then you have both the creaminess and the pieces of the beans that they stay in. I go a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'm of the team soup with pieces. So that's gonna be my last stage. You can keep on going if you like something more creamy. It's not gonna take long. It's just about, yeah, 2 minutes of smashing basically and get to something that is basically homogeneous and creamy and yeah, all the same. I will take a spoon just to show you the consistency that I got. Probably our consistency will be different because we put probably a different amount of water, but guys, it's gonna be delicious anyway. So that's gonna stay there. I hope not. So there we go. And then we are gonna portion it with a spoon. Before doing that, last touch, of course, like it was for the pesto, is the citrus. Forever and always. I've got my lemon, half lemon. It depends how strong is your lemon. Again, Dutch lemons are not the greatest thing. I'm with a Dutch person around me, so yeah, I'm quite enjoying the moment. But I'm gonna go with a few drops. You can see. Yes, you stir it in. If you are not a big fan of citrus like I am, something you can use at this stage instead of the lemon is vinegar, white vinegar, normal white wine vinegar, and it's pretty delicious as well. Now at this point, I don't have a big spoon with me.
Oh wow!
Oh, I do actually. Yes?
Yes, I love citrus as well.
What?
I love lemon and all the citrus.
Yeah. I love that too. I use a lot of orange as well. I mean, let's put in salads, let's put it everywhere.
Me too.
Okay. I found my spoon. With this amount, I normally get a couple of portions. So there we go. Loving the color. You can see the herbs. There you are. And at this point, we go with the pesto. Okay. Well, that's up to you guys again. I mean, I'm well, I find it quite tasty. You put a little bit on top. You can keep the rest in you can put yeah, that's something actually important to say, because we made quite a lot. Yes, so it's quite the best it would be to just put it in a jar with a closed lid, and you keep it in the fridge. You can use it for any kind of preparation, any kind of food you want to make. You can make pasta with it, and like Isotta told us recently, if you want to keep it green, bright green, you should never warm it up. So if you make your pasta, don't warm up the pesto. Cook the pasta and throw it and put it together with the pesto. If it's too thick, add some cooking water of the pasta, but never cook the pesto, never ever. Well,
Ale,
yes.
Ale, but do you think that maybe a little zest of ginger could be okay with
Absolutely. I would put
Okay.
it. I would put it in the sofrito. I use it quite a lot actually in soups, or if you do a wok or something a bit more Asian style. I normally cut it very thin together with the garlic, but really thin. And then you put it together in the sofrito. And the reason is just because, again, with the heat and the oil, you extract more the flavor. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the main reason. You can think of anything, and then like herbs, you can put ginger, you can put curcuma, turmeric in English, and I would always add it at the first stage if you have it fresh. If you have a dry or powdered ingredient, then I would go towards the end of it. Yeah.
Okay. So if fresh at the beginning.
Yeah, just because you want to extract as much flavor as possible.
Okay.
That's your main thing.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm done, guys. That's the soup.
Whoa, whoa.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We want to see you eating.
You want to see me eating?
Yeah, please.
Okay, there you go.
Yummy.
Pretty hot, but it's nice. It's really nice. Well, it's one of my favorite soups ever, so I couldn't go wrong with it.
Delicious.
Sorry?
It looks delicious.
It is indeed.
Oh, I love it, Alessandra.
I'm happy to hear. And I mean, as you could see, guys, it's a matter of 20. What time is it? Am I on time? Oh my God, yeah.
Perfectly. You're perfectly on time.
So it's a matter of 20-25 minutes. If you just have everything ready like we did, it's easy. There's nothing major. Just grab your ingredients and go.
It's delicious, and adding the lemons. It's like, wow, lemon with herbs. It's something that I love, but I know. My mom, she's here and she can confirm. I used to hate beans, and I love this. So it's amazing all this flavor, how this flavor connected. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm happy you liked it. I'm happy to be here. I hope that you guys enjoyed. It was the first time also, I wanted to say, to do something like a cooking lesson or teaching online, but also in real life, because I've never done that. So it was quite fun to prepare and to be in touch with you guys also. So thank you for the opportunity, really.
You did great.
Thanks.
Thank you. And thank
you for doing this.
And thank you again for changing the recipe, because
No
behind
problem.
the scene we have the original one, and then we had we wanted, based on your feedback, to link better the recipe we were proposing to the topic we were discussing for the sustainability part. So this time we wanted to make it in a proper in a better way, as you suggested, and Ale was really she
Flexible.
was amazing, because
Yeah, I was happy. I mean,
Flexible, brave.
No, but guys, I mean, if there are people who really like cooking, I think that's something that also Isotta said the last time, or other times, I'm not sure where I read it, but it's all about trying. It's all about trying something new, because if you like to cook, and mostly if you like to eat, I think that you can never stop basically trying new things. So if the other comes from me or from you or from a stranger, you know, then it's always good. The input is always good. So thank you for that.
Ale, everybody's enjoying. All the comments are super positive. All the people want to try if they didn't get the chance to to do now. Tina said that probably you will see each other in Amsterdam. I don't know if it's a threat or no, I'm kidding.
Okay, well, sounds good to me. I hope it's not a threat. I mean, you guys can always contact me on my Instagram. I'm always super available. I know that the name is not the easiest one to find back. I'm not gonna change it, so you gotta find me anyway. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi, so we are in the end, right? So
Correct.
we hope you enjoyed the second free online event. We were a lot. We would like to thank again Andrea for being with us, and Alessandra, and all of you, because we were a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Indeed, thank you guys, and we hope to see you again. If you enjoyed this one, of course, please feel free to send us all your feedback, how we can improve it. We are just starting, so everything that we can do better, we will try our best to improve. Next time, our next meeting will be on the 16th of June, so a little bit less than a month. And the topic should be, is not confirmed yet, but it should be about the bulk grocery shop. So again, another way to try to not waste plastic and not use plastic, but actually find the things. It was used in the past. Actually, there is no rocket science. There is nothing new. We are not inventing the wheels. But as we probably our grandmas did in the past, just buy the beans, not in plastic, but go there and just buy the part that you need, cook it, and then if you need again, go again, so that we can both save plastic and not waste food. And drum rolls, because the cook will be Alessandra Macchioni. So we will get our Alessandra to cook for us next time. So thanks, and Isotta, I don't know if you want to wrap up.
Yes, for wrapping up, if you didn't sign up yet, please, I'm sharing the chat, make sure that you sign up so you will get the recording of this session, all the other information, invitation for the next events. And of course, please feel free to spread the word, invite your friends, because also we're starting offering private events with these formats. So if you have remote teams and you want to get together learning in interactive ways, we can do quizzes and games for remote teams about sustainability environment, follow with a cooking session. We're on, so please tell everybody about the Sustainable Kitchen Brigade, and of course you're more than welcome every month to join us for these free events. So thank you so much to Andrea and Alessandra, and to all of you.
Have a great night, guys. Bye. Enjoy the weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.